The 2025 NASCAR schedules have officially been released for the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, we'll be taking a look at the NASCAR Cup schedule, the Xfinity Series schedule, and the Truck Series schedule for 2025, as it has officially been released after months and months of waiting. It's been officially released for 2025. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into it. We're first going to take a look at the Cup schedule, then we'll go to Xfinity, and we'll go to Trucks. The season is going to kick off on February 2nd at Bowman Gray Stadium, as Bowman Gray will host the Busch Light Clash for 2025. After that, on February 16th, after 1 week break for the Super Bowl, on February 16th, the regular season will kick off for the 2025 Daytona 500. Then after that, on February 23rd, we'll race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This will be the second race once again in 2025, no-brainer. It was a banger of a race last year. The first big change coming that will be on March 2nd, as Circuit Americas will move from about race 5 or 6 of the year up to the third race in 2025. Having Coda in the third race of the year, you got to think a driver like Shane Van Gisbergen has to be the favorite to win that race. We kind of discussed this yesterday, but Coda will be the third race of the year. Then after that, on March 9th, we'll head to Phoenix Raceway, first of 2 trips out at that track in 2025. And then after that, another change. Las Vegas moves from the third race of the year to the 5th race of the year on March the 16th to close out the West Coast swing. Then after that, the next big change on the schedule is coming, as Homestead Miami Speedway will move out of the playoffs in 2025 and move to the 6th race of the year on March 23rd. Rumor is they're looking to try to build up for the season finale once again in 2025. They will host the race on March 23rd. I'm not a big fan of this change personally, but if it means that we get the Homestead season finale again in the future, it is what it is. Then after that, on March 30th, we'll race at Martinsville Speedway. And then another change coming on April 6th, we'll be racing at Darlington Raceway. Darlington moves from the Mother's Day weekend to a little earlier in the year. Probably try to have the throwback weekend a little bit earlier in the season. Then after that, on April 13th, we'll race at Bristol Motor Speedway. And then for the Cup Series, we'll have an off week for Easter week. After the off break on April 27th, we'll head to Talladega Super Speedway. We do expect that to be on Fox. By the way, all these races will be on Fox Sports or FS1. Then after that, on May 4th, we have a change as Texas moves back a little bit farther in the season as a move to after Talladega. And then after that, on May 11th, we'll race at Kansas Speedway on the Mother's Day weekend. I love Kansas being on Mother's Day weekend. Kansas being on one of those holiday weekends makes sense. It's fantastic racing. Get great racing at the track. Kansas moves a little bit farther in the year. And then the final race for Fox Sports will be the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro, as we'll return at North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race in 2025. Then Prime is going to begin their schedule on May 25th for the Coco 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This will be the first race that Dale Jr. will call for 2025 of basically two networks he's going to be on. Coke 600 will open that up. After that, on June 1st, another change. Nashville moves from the end of June to the second for the first race of June in 2025. I think it makes a lot of sense. The weather is a little cooler at that time in Nashville. It's not going to be as hot, so it makes sense to move it a little earlier in the year. After that, on June 8th, we'll head to Michigan. Another big change. This race will move from August to June. It still will somehow probably rain, but it will be a better chance of not raining than if it was in August. I think this is a good change in my opinion. And then after that, the next big change. Mexico City, the first NASCAR Cup international race since 1958 when we raced at Toronto. We will be racing in Mexico City at the Autodromo Hernando Rodriguez track on June the 15th on Prime. And in the final race of Prime schedule will be at Pocono Raceway on June 22nd. This race moves a couple weeks earlier in the year to the end of June for 2025. Then TNT's portion of the season will kick off on June 28th at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We already knew this will be a Saturday night race. It'll be the first Saturday night points-paying race of 2025, as Atlanta will be on June 28th. And then after that, on July 6th, we'll be racing at the Chicago Street Course on TNT. No changes here, obviously. A little bit later in the year, a couple days later, but I think it does make a lot of sense to have it a little bit later, and obviously, hopefully, that means we can get a better chance of getting the race in early. Hopefully, they start the race a little earlier. This also could be the final race at the Chicago Street Course. Then after that, on July 13th, we have another change as Sonoma Raceway moves from early June to the middle of July. It's going to be a little warmer during that time. I question this move a little bit, to be honest. I kind of wish they kind of put a little earlier in the year, but it will be in the middle of July. Then after that, another change coming on July 20th, we'll be racing at Dover. While it's going to be very hot, I don't think this is an awful change, considering the fact there's going to be a better chance of getting this race in, and weather will not be impacting the event. And then the final race for TNT schedule will be on July 27th at Indianapolis for the Brickyard 400, as it will return once again in 2025, coming back 1 week later than it was this year. Then NBC's portion in the final run to the end of the year will kick off on Iowa Speedway on August 3rd. That will be during the Knoxville Nationals weekend, so it'll be a little bit farther back in the year during that Knoxville Nationals weekend on August 3rd. Then after that, Waca's going to be on August 10th. That will be a little bit earlier in the year, pushing it out of that playoff area as we move back to a traditional weekend. They had to move it into the playoffs this year because of the Olympics, unfortunately, but it will be on August 10th. And then on August 16th and 23rd will be back-to-back Saturday night races at Richmond and Daytona. Richmond only will have one date in 2025, and Daytona will be the regular season finale once again, as there will not have to change anything up there. But those will be Saturday night races. I think those are good moves. And now we get to the playoffs. Round of 16 will be Darlington on August 31st, and then Worldwide Technology Raceway moves into the playoffs for the first time on September 7th. That will be a mid-afternoon race. I think this actually does make a lot of sense for Gateway to be in the playoffs, considering the IndyCar is moving their date to when NASCAR had ran the last couple years. That's why it will move into the playoffs in 2025. And then finally on September 13th for the round of 16, we'll be racing at Bristol Motor Speedway. Now the round of 12 gets interesting. On Sunday, September 21st, we'll race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway to kick off the round of 12. I question this move personally. I don't know why New Hampshire is in the playoffs, to be honest. I feel like you shouldn't have two new flat tracks in there. I think it should only be one, considering you do have rain tires now. I think there could have been a different track in the playoffs here. Just saying. Then on September 28th, we'll race at Kansas Speedway, and then the 12 cutoff race will be at the Charlotte Roval on October the 5th. Then we get to the round of 8. Las Vegas will kick off the round of 8 on October 12th. Then Talladega, like we've talked about multiple times on this channel, will be on October 19th as the second race of the round of 8. Can we please swap Kansas and Talladega, please? I think that would be a better look for the schedule. And then finally, on October 26th, for the round of 8 cutoff to decide who gets into Championship 4, we'll race at Martinsville. And then finally, for the Cup Series, Sunday, November 2nd, will be the championship race at Phoenix. Some of my thoughts on the schedule: I like some of the things. Worldwide Technology Raceway being in the playoffs, I think it's cool. I think obviously bringing Nashville a little early in the year makes sense. I think going to Mexico is fantastic. Bringing Chicago back is cool. I think Atlanta being on Saturday night, it's not going to be boiling hot. I think it's great. I also think some of the other changes, like bringing Iowa a little bit later in the year, kind of during that Knoxville Nationals weekend, makes a lot of sense. And bringing Watkins Glen out of the playoffs, I absolutely love that. I think that's a good move that they did, in my opinion. I think there's some bad things they did. I kind of discussed it yesterday, but I think there's some good changes overall. So now, we're going to talk about the NASCAR Xfinity Series schedule. So, the season is going to kick off on Saturday, February 16th, 15th at Daytona International Speedway. Then on Saturday, February 22nd, we'll race at Atlanta. Then on Saturday, March 1st, we'll race the Circuit of the Americas. And then after that, on March 8th, we'll race at Phoenix. After that, on March 15th, we'll race at Las Vegas, and then on the 22nd of March, we'll race at Homestead Miami Speedway. Then on March 29th, we'll race at Martinsville Speedway, or Homestead in Martinsville on March 29th, and then on April 5th, we'll race at Darlington. After that, on April 12th, we'll race at Bristol Motor Speedway, and then on Saturday, April 19th, one of the most exciting changes to the schedule for next year, we are racing at Rockingham Speedway for the first time in Xfinity since 2004. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this. I've been wanting Rockingham back on the schedule for a very, very long time. I think this is one of the best changes they've made in recent years. It's pretty awesome to see that Rockingham will once again be back on the schedule for the first time in a long time. I've been clamoring for this track to come back. Please, people, show up, because Rockingham deserves to be on the schedule. Then after that, on Saturday, April 26th, we'll race at Talladega Super Speedway. And then on May 3rd, we'll race at Texas Motor Speedway. And then it'll be about a 3-week break, actually, for the schedule. And then on May 24th, we'll race at Charlotte. Then after that, on Saturday, May 31st, we'll race at Nashville Super Speedway. And then once again, it looks like there's going to be another break. And then on June 14th, we'll race at Mexico City as the second of the big races that will happen on the Mexico City weekend, the first time the Xfinity Series has raced at the track since 2008. So after that, on June 21st, we'll race at Pocono Raceway, and then on June 27th, a Friday night race will race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. After that, on Saturday, July 5th, we will return to the Chicago Street Course, and then on Saturday, July 12th, we'll race at Sonoma Raceway. Then after that, on Saturday, July 19th, we'll race at Dover, and then on the 26th, we'll race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Then after that, on August 2nd, we'll race at Iowa Speedway, and then on August 9th, we'll race at Watkins Glen. Then after that, on August 22nd, we'll race at Daytona International Speedway. And then on August 30th, another big change coming to schedule, surprisingly. Portland Raceway moves to the end of August. Very interesting. I think the IndyCar race, they're moving it around with IndyCar as well. Kind of around the course when Worldwide Technology is going to happen. So this will be the second to last race of the regular season. But then another big change coming, folks. On September the 6th, we are racing at Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is going to be the first time that the NASCAR Xfinity Series has raced at Worldwide Technology Raceway since 2010 when Brad Keselowski won. I am actually a big fan of this move personally. I think it's great that they're bringing this back, and I think unlike the Truck Series and the NASCAR Cup Series, I think the Xfinity Series is going to put on a really excellent and great show. I've always been a big fan of this track. Great to see the Xfinity will be taking over the Truck Weekend next year. Then the playoffs are going to kick off for the Xfinity Series. On September 12th, we'll race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Then on September 27th, after a 2-week break, we'll race at Kansas Speedway. And then the final race of the round of 12 for Xfinity will be on October 4th at the Charlotte Roval. Then after that, on October 11th, we'll race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And then October 18th, we'll race at Talladega. That'll probably be where Austin or Jesse Love wins. And then October 25th, we'll be at Martinsville to decide who gets into the championship four. And then finally, on November 1st, for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, we'll be racing at Phoenix for the championship race. Some thoughts on the schedule. Mexico being on the Xfinity schedule is great. Worldwide Technology Raceway being back is awesome. It is a shame that they're kind of losing New Hampshire because they will not be on the schedule for next year, which will be the first time Xfinity has not raced in New Hampshire in a very long time. But I think the Xfinity schedule is solid, all things considered. And now we get to the Truck Series schedule, where this, I think, is a little bit shorter once again. So the season is going to kick off on Friday, February 14th at Daytona International Speedway. After that, on February 22nd, we'll race at Atlanta. And then on March 14th, we'll race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. After that, on March 21st, we'll race at Homestead Miami Speedway. And then on March 28th, we will race at Martinsville. Then after that, April 11th, we'll race at Bristol Motor Speedway. And then on April 18th, we're racing at Rockingham. And it'll be with ARCA as well. Rockingham being on the truck schedule, I think, is very excellent and really great to see. Then on May 2nd, we'll race at Texas Motor Speedway. And then on May 10th, we'll race at Kansas. After that, on May 17th, we'll race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And then on May 23rd, we will race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. After that, on May 30th, we will race at Nashville Super Speedway. And then on Saturdays, June 7th, we will race at Michigan. Michigan, for the first time back on the Truck Series schedule, I believe, since 2018 or 2019. They're probably going to bring a Super Speedway package, unfortunately, to that Truck Series race. It will be then. And then on June 20th, we will race at Pocono. And then another big change coming to the truck schedule. Lime Rock Park will be on the NASCAR schedule for the first time in the Truck Series ever. I believe it has been on the NASCAR Xfinity schedule in the past, if I remember correctly. I think it's really interesting that they're doing that. Lime Rock, I think, is honestly going to be a very fun and exciting event, all things considered. Now, I think Lime Rock will be a pretty fun road course for the Truck Series, especially. It will be on the schedule for the first time. Then after that, on July 25th, we'll race at IRP. And then back on the schedule for the first time since 2021 on August 8th, we'll be racing at Watkins Glen. This means there are likely going to be 2 or 3 road courses, actually 3 road courses as we'll get down to in a little bit. And then the final race of the regular season for the Truck Series will be on August 15th at Richmond Raceway. And now we get to the playoffs. On Saturday, August 30th, we'll be racing at Darlington Raceway. This means there probably will be a doubleheader. I don't know if the Xfinity is doing a doubleheader, but Darlington will be on the NASCAR Truck Series schedule once again in the playoffs to kick off. And then on Thursday, September 11th, we'll race at Bristol Motor Speedway. And then the cutoff race for the round of 10 will take place on September 20th at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. New Hampshire will be in the Truck Series playoffs for the first time, I believe, since 2017. So it's been a long time since it's been on the Truck Series schedule. It'll be back for the first time since 2017. And now we get to the round of 8, and this is interesting. Friday, October 3rd, the Charlotte Roval will be on the Truck Series schedule. That's right. There is going to be another road course for trucks. It'll be a triple header weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we'll be at the Charlotte Roval for the first time for trucks. That could be a very interesting race. Hopefully it can put on a good product. Then Friday, October 17th, we'll race at Talladega, and then the final race of the round of 8 will take place at Martinsville, and then the championship race will happen on Halloween for Phoenix for the Craftsman Truck Series. So what are my thoughts on the truck schedule? I think it's got some good changes, all things considered. I'm glad they're going to Lime Rock. I think Watkins Glen being back in the trucks is great. I also love that it's a lot more compact. It's one of the biggest issues the Truck Series playoffs has had for years is it's not been too compact. I think it's honestly a really solid truck schedule, in my opinion. It's disappointing they're not going to be a gateway, but I think the Xfinity Series will put on overall a pretty good product. All things considered, with the schedules, I think they all look pretty good in certain instances. I think Cup, get Talladega, I've said, back out of the round of 8 and move it to the round of 12 and swap and put Kansas there. I think that would be a great change. I think Xfinity going to Gateway is exciting, and going back to Rockingham, I am so excited about that. I think Rockingham is going to be a fantastic and fun show, and overall, I think the schedules look very interesting, and they do look pretty good. In my honest opinion, I think they do look pretty solid for all 3 series. So, that is going to be a full reaction to the 2025 NASCAR schedules for Cup, Xfinity, and Trucks. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my Patreon as well. Listeners will below that, and comment your thoughts on today's episode. What are your thoughts about the 2025 NASCAR schedules? Let me know them in the comments below. There will be a paint scheme video dropping on the channel later this afternoon. Tomorrow, we're going to have a NASCAR news video, discuss news over the course of the last couple days, including some of the changes of the 2025 schedule. And then, of course, we'll also have some other videos dropping throughout the weekend for Darlington as we head to Southern 500 to decide who will get into the playoffs. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.